is a question about niqab, and it says, is niqab a cultural thing? Niqab, by agreement, is not a cultural thing. In fact, Imam al-Ghazali goes as far as saying that there was a practical consensus of the Muslims during his time to not allow, and that is Imam al-Ghazali reporting from the end of the 5th century, beginning of the 6th century. He's reporting about the condition of the Muslims during his time, talking about the end of 5th century, beginning of the 6th century, because a lot of people, come up with those, ridiculous claims. I'm from Egypt, so in Egypt they say it's a Turkish innovation. It's an Ottoman Turkish innovation. Imam al-Ghazali was reporting this way before the Ottomans came to existence. In fact, way before the Ottomans came into Islam to begin with. So he was reporting that the Muslimun had agreed on not allowing their women to walk out with their face showing. So it's a practical agreement. It is agreement in practice. This is not the scholarly consensus that would make the matter a decisive matter. I personally, to clarify my position, I believe that niqab is not mandatory. I believe that the majority of the scholars, the position of the majority of the scholars, which is that niqab is preferred as the sunnah of the mothers of the believers, or the way of the mothers of the believers, and it is an additional thing, not a requirement of hijab. Hijab that is mandatory, that's obligatory, that is the farida, has certain requirements. Niqab, which is the covering of the face, is not one of the requirements of hijab. However, it's an additional thing. Those scholars who believed that niqab is not mandatory, they consider that to be mashru', permissible, and recommended, favorable, mustahab. So that is the discourse between the Muslim scholars. Beyond this is not a scholarly discourse. Niqab is a culture. It's like Turkish or this or that. All of this is not a scholarly discourse, but the scholarly discourse is limited to whether niqab is mandatory or just a preferred act